The Global Latin Factor Podcast.
Welcome you and all to another episode of the Global Latin Factor Podcast, where we talk about Latino everything. And today, it's a very, very special treat because we have a comedian, actor, voice actor, writer, producer, tequila expert, president and co-owner of Number Juan award-winning tequila, a legend in comedy, diehard cowboy fan, recipient of the American Latino Media Arts Award, or ALMA Award, which pretty much used to be Latin Oscars Award, which is an award winning for the best American Latino that contributes to music, television, film, award that pretty much gives the award for the Latino that best portrays the way that Latinos are. Mr. Stop Me When I Lie, Hispanic OG of comedy, Alex Reymundo.
Wow, Crispin. Thank you. That's when you put it that way. Maybe I shouldn't be standing next to me.
You are. This is all you. This is just a little bit of you.
You know what? I got to tell you, thank you for that warm welcome. It was very humbling. Thank you. But I think my favorite part of that was when you described the ALMA Award, because I'm very proud of it, right? Obviously. And I've heard it introduced many ways, but the words you just put in front of it are I've never heard it put that way. And you're absolutely right, my friend. It's an honor so thank you.
Yeah. So Alma, if you don't speak Spanish, in Portuguese and Spanish means soul. Alma.
Your soul.
Yeah.
Todo lo que tienes. It's what you come here with and hopefully you leave here with.
Absolutely. So we're going to get into this. If you can see, this is a different setup than we usually have. We have a little bit of extra things and we'll talk about all that. But first, we're going to get to a segment that I like to call Preguntas al Chile.
Hey.
Check it out. So you're going to like this one. So watch. So this is gonna be rapid fire questions. You're going to let me know which one you like. You like this one or you like that one? Tacos or tortas?
Tacos.
Corn tortilla or flour tortilla?
Flour.
Sincronizadas o sopes?
Sopes.
Enchiladas o enchiladas suizas?
Enchiladas.
Ceviche o vuelve a la vida?
Ceviche.
Salsa verde, salsa roja?
Me gustan los dos juntos.
Okay, hey, nothing wrong with that.
Con un serrano en la mano.
También. Hey. Valentina, tapatío o cholula?
I don't do it like that. I do it fresh.
Fresh. Menudo o pozole?
Pozole.
Mexican coca o jarrito?
Coca from the 80s.
Oh, that's a different one.
Mexican coca.
Mexican coca, okay. Agua de horchata.
Yoli. You're from Guerrero. Yoli.
Okay. Agua de horchata, Jamaica o tamarindo?
Jamaica.
Okay. I know you like your tequila more, but if you had to drink a beer, Dos Equis, Corona o Modelo?
Modelo.
Okay.
But most often the Corona.
Absolutely. Okay. So I know you like tequila. It's only obvious, but which one would be your choice? Tequila blanco, reposado, extra añejo, or Juan in a Million?
Sabes que como le dije a mi padre cuando era joven, like I told my father when I was young, me gustan todas. Me gustan todas.
Te gustan todas. Hey, nothing wrong with that.
You know what? I dance from one to the other, literally.
Nice.
As a matter of fact, I would say of my bottles, I usually drink the reposado. I'd love them all, but for the last month and a half, I've been drinking my blanco. That's what I'm drinking for the last month. And so I fall in love with them over and over, each one of them.
Nice little seal, Hecho Mexico seal.
But if there was a chart somewhere, which I would feel bad for the person that had to keep up with the chart of my drinking, the reposado would be the bigger pie.
Awesome. Okay, churros or flan?
Churros.
Okay. And the paletas, the dulce, the candy ones, the sandía, elote o mango?
The mango.
Conchitas, the brown ones, the white ones, or the pink ones?
The what? Conchitas?
Conchitas, las cafeses, las blancas, o las rositas, the pink ones.
Rositas.
Okay.
I don't even know what a conchita is. I gotta be honest. I don't know what. But
a concha, the pan, a bread.
Oh, the pan. Oh, say it again. Describe them.
Okay, la conchita, the breads, brown one, the pink ones, or the white ones?
The brown ones.
Okay. Refried beans or borracho beans?
Ooh, eso está. That's close, bro. And don't talk about my mom.
Okay, so we're not gonna make you pick on this one. We'll take both. Okay, and for you, as far as the word Latino in general, what does it come to mind? What does it mean to you? If you feel like you have a definition for it, what does it come to mind?
Oh man, mis papás. I like your style already, bro.
Thank you.
Mis papás. That's who I think of. Mi abuelita, mis tíos, mis tías, me.
Yeah.
Mis hijos.
Absolutely.
That's a heavy talk right there. I like
Absolutely.
it. I like it.
Hey, salud. Like, okay, so real quick confession. So one of the the agreements for us is to have some of your tequila here, and because you are a co-owner of this tequila, which is Number Juan Tequila, and it has 3 different expressions that we have here. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I might have not got in trouble before with the law about drinking, but what I was telling somebody earlier is like, let's say you don't smoke like weed, right? But let's say you have Snoop Dogg or Willie Nelson or somebody give you a joint.
Yeah.
You're not going to pass that opportunity. You're not going to pass that opportunity because to me, like I got here in the 90s, I didn't know no English whatsoever. And some of the first memories as far as learning like about the culture in general was the Latin Kings of Comedy, and you were one of them. And I was like, I can't pass this opportunity. It might be just a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and sip a little bit because it's one of a lifetime opportunities to tell a great story that I got to interview Alex Reymundo, and we got to,
we had a drink. We shared a tequila. Well, cheers. Salud. Ahí te va.
My camera's way far over there, so.
It's all right. Okay. Well, let me say a couple of things to that right there. First of all, I like being a bad influence, and I have to say, for someone that has stayed away from alcohol, way to jump back in the pool. You had all 3 bottles, and for those and for your listeners and your viewers, I'll let them know what you mean by all that is when people interview me and they want to talk to me, and when they do, which is nice, thank you for that. I say, yeah, I'll talk to you, but you have to drink tequila with me while we speak. I don't care who you are. I don't care what's going on. We have to drink a tequila together. And that's me almost being a dick, but a good dick, because that's me just me saying, come have fun with me for a second.
Yeah.
Just for a second. Even like you just said, if you take one sip, perfect. At least you can speak of it. And if you drink a lot with me, but then perfect too. So thank you. Thanks for joining the party.
So I have already started spreading the cheers here, and one of our he's actually the son of the owner of the station. I gave him a little bit of tequila to try, and you know how he described it.
Hopefully he's over 21.
I gave him the extra añejo, a one with the big bucks.
Yeah.
And you know what he said? This is how he described it. He said dangerously smooth. Like this could get you in trouble because you don't realize how smooth it is, and before you know it, you probably sip through half the bottle.
And here's the cool part. Tell him he has great taste in tequila.
Yeah.
And here's the cool part. All 3 of those bottles are they have that reaction from people. And I have to give credit there to credit where it belongs to the people that make this tequila, the Rivera family from Matitan, Jalisco, who have been doing this for near a century. And I was just, I stumbled there literally with my friend, Ron. And Ron White,
Ron White,
and we tasted it and couldn't believe how great it was, and we just wanted to share the message to people, but when they told us it didn't have a U.S. presence, because I asked them, I said, ¿Cómo se llama esto en los Estados Unidos? Porque en Mexico,
Regalo de Dios.
Regalo de Dios, the tequila's been called, and it still is, and the master distiller Nestor Rivera said to me, he said, no lo tenemos en los Estados Unidos. No hay presencia allí. So there's no U.S. presence. And I could hear my father from the grave saying, no seas pendejo. And we acquired the rights to bring it. They're the artist in this situation. Ron and I are just spreaders of the word, but we own the label. And you made a reference to that earlier, where we own it. Ron and I own and operate it. We have some amazing partners, but this is our baby. It's all of our babies, but it was Ron and I's. It was our thought to share fun.
Yeah,
and we still do it. You should know that, everybody. More than 80% of this we still own. We operate it.
Absolutely. Let me share also that the bottle design is after the piña, the corazón, and also there's a picture right here, and the picture is of your father.
It is.
Which, as you were saying, like your dad would kick you, and I'm sorry for your loss, but it's a great honor as far as the way he was telling you, like you have everything in Mexico, and now even the seal itself, the Hecho en Mexico seal, and the picture of him, I think you do him like a great honor, because now his face is everywhere, and he told you Mexico we have everything, and here we are, and we have it right here in a bottle.
Again, you're obviously very versed in who you're talking and who you speak to, because I got to tell you a couple of things. It was so important to me, one, to have my father's face on there, to honor my father, because my whole life, my father, we came here when I was 2. But the entire time my father said, Alex, tu vida is in Mexico, even though he brought us here for opportunity. So it was important for me to put him there. Right.
Absolutely.
And it was very important. And this is what people don't usually notice, to put the Hecho en Mexico,
oh yeah,
La Águila, on the bottle. I'm kind of amazed at how many tequila bottles don't fly that eagle, because that's the official stamp of Hecho en Mexico.
Yeah.
And so that means a lot to me. And I'll tell you, you mentioned earlier, different set. When I talk to people, usually I'm down in the basement where my guitars are.
Yeah.
This is the upstairs bar, but check this out, everybody. I'm going to have you zoom in for a second. That's my father's face, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Crispin mentioned that, but this is rare that people get to see this. See this photo right there?
Oh yeah.
Check it out. I'm going to show you this. This is an old vintage, like when you go and you put on shit from the 1800s.
Yeah.
And this is a photo of me and my wife and kids and my father. And the photo you see of my father on the bottle, we cropped it from here.
Oh wow, that's so neat.
So check this
out. So awesome. Oh yeah, that's it right there. Oh my goodness.
Try to get the light on it right, and then of course there's my oh here I'll just say, so there's me, there's my son, todo pistolas in your face. There's my wife, my bride Terry, my daughter Christian Mariah, mi hijo Alejandro Miguel, and there's my father right there, and that's what we cropped, and that's what you see. So that's why it looks so old school and vintage.
That is freaking awesome, man, and that is a great picture. It's a great picture, man. That's awesome. Okay, so 2 questions. First of all, let's start with some of the questions. I think we already got into a great interview. As far as I know other people have done the same thing. Salute. As far as like interviews, but I like to have also conversation as far as get to know you. But I do have some questions. Did he ever tell you the story why you decided to come to the U.S. when you were 2 years old?
Yeah. I mean, he just, him and my mother wanted opportunity for us. And I got to be honest with you, they were young. As I hear the stories now, they were young and a lot of things were happening in their lives. And I mean, I think my father was 25 when I was born. Mm-hmm. So he was 27 when we came to the U.S. Am I doing my math right? Yeah. They were just looking for opportunity. My father was a cliff diver. He was a cliff diver in Acapulco.
Oh, wow.
But while he wasn't, I mean, he did that. It's not like that's how, I mean, he did that, but at the same time, he was running like the beach activities, or I don't know if he was running it, but he was there working the beach activities at one of the hotels.
Right.
And my mother was working at the same hotel inside, working and talking with people. And so my dad met my mother there. And so they came because they saw they had an opportunity to come here and they wanted to give their family more opportunity. They were not at all professionals, in the sense of they weren't accountants or doctors or lawyers. My mother's family is all doctors and lawyers and stuff, but my mom was not, and so I think they just found an opportunity to bring their children somewhere and give them opportunity. I mean, I can't even put my mind in where they were to take this leap of faith, you know? So I don't know what made them make the decision. Maybe just the opportunity came there and God bless that process, because I'm proud to say that, my parents came to this country with, my dad would always tell me, llegué aquí con 5 hijos, $4 y 3 trabajos.
Oh, wow.
And they both worked my whole life, hospitality, hotels, restaurants. My mother was a housekeeper. My father was a waiter and a banquet waiter. But they excelled at what they did, 4 and 5-star hotels. And they taught us to work hard.
Yeah.
And so I'm proud to say that all of my brothers and sisters are entrepreneurs. We all work for ourselves and do something that we love, which is cool.
That's awesome. And I know one of the interviews you had before, you mentioned that there were artists, but I don't know if you elaborate as far as what kind of artists were. They painters, singers, or things like that?
My father could draw.
Oh, nice.
He was a showman, right? He was a clavadista de Acapulco.
Yeah, of course.
He could put a Speedo on and make you go, wow, look at that dude.
Yeah.
And my mother, she's an artist. She's a singer. My mother can sing. She was a dancer. I remember when we were young, they would speak of how, because again, she was at the front of the hotel, and I would assume that she was part of the shows that were going on. And I know, much to her grandmother's dismay, she didn't like the idea of, again, her grandchild, who their family were doctors and lawyers, being a show person.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's what my mother wanted to do. That's what my father wanted to do. And again, God bless them, because they gave all that up, all those type of dreams up, to come over here, y chingarle, work hard, so we could have every opportunity. So again,
that's awesome. Appreciate it. Well, bro. A similar story for mine. So yeah, I came here when I was 11 illegally, and then we managed to become legal. And then I'm a veteran as well. So but I always seen the same thing you've seen as far as my dad working really hard. He tried really hard to do crops, but they were not working. So he gave it all, like, as best as he could. And then everybody was coming to the States for opportunities and things like that. So, and the same thing for my brothers. All of them are very successful in their own rights. So, and I think most of the time, Mexicanos, Latinos, our parents strive to get us to that place, right? There's nothing, of course, there's a couple people that fall off, but the majority of the time, we're trying to strive for the best. And it's awesome that all your brothers and sisters are entrepreneurs, and yourself. I mean, look at you. You have your own tequila, that you have and you're pushing. And it's amazing. But another question that I had is about...
I'm sharing. I'm not pushing. I'm sharing.
Absolutely. Oh, well, yeah. I'm sorry about that. You are enlightening the world with this amazing beverage that is from Mexico and is only made in Mexico and bottled in Mexico. Is the only place in the world that you can get this with the blue agave. Now, another question that I had is that the... stumbling into the distillery, like, I know that you said that a friend had told you about that particular distillery, right. Or did you go in there to like vacation and see the place?
We went there to drink.
That's it.
We went there to drink, not just there, that region. We went there to just have some fun because my friend and I, Ron White,
yes.
I should maybe back up and tell that story a little bit. He and I have been friends since the beginning of what we do for a living, our adult life. Which is
1986, September.
It's tough to
17.
say that I can't believe I just called us adults, but the truth is, back in 1986, he walked into a comedy club to do stand up and try his hand at this. And before he went on stage, he went to the bar and he ordered a Budweiser and a shot of tequila. And on that day, true to my family's, where I grew up, hospitality, Alex Reymundo was the bartender. And we both started doing stand up in the same club. We went on to quit our jobs. I was a bartender. He was a window salesman. And then we traveled the nation for 5 years in my truck or his. So cut to way later after he does the blue collar tour and I do the Latin Kings. But we go down to Mexico just to drink for fun. Uh-huh. That's why we were there. And a friend had directed me to this distillery, said, you got to check out this one distillery. Mm-hmm. Anyway, a friend turned me on to the distillery and we went there. And when we drank it, if any of you know me, I've been drinking tequila since I was 16.
Dang.
And I enjoy tequila. There's a lot of tequilas that I love, and there's a lot of tequilas that I don't even care for.
Right.
So I know tequila, at least according to me. But when I drank this tequila, I looked at the guy and I said, hands down, best tequila I've ever had. And then that's when everything else happened.
Yeah, what came to mind as soon as you tried it? Like the smell, the taste, the smoothness. What was it?
I think it's still the same thing to this day. Is the experience. The experience of it, it's so pretty. I used to, if you know me from my early days of comedy, some people are like, oh, that's that tequila guy, before I ever had a tequila, because I was known to drink anywhere from 7 to 11 shots in 45 minutes, just because I was having fun and I was drinking and I would do whatever I do. And, which is usually have fun. And I also wouldn't slur my words too bad. So I know tequila, but again, when I drank this tequila, I was like, I've learned to enjoy it. I sip it now because the experience is amazing. And I think one of my favorite parts of it is the sustain that it has. Like right, look, I poured this when we started. I'm just sipping it.
Sip it. That's the way it's supposed to be consumed.
But I also kind of, when it's in my mouth, I kind of breathe it like it's a bong in my mouth. It bubbles,
right?
And so I get all that aroma, and then I just sit there and enjoy that buzz for the next, 2 minutes.
Wow, that's very interesting.
That's how you should drink tequila, everybody.
Yes, no shots.
Like I always say, no con tu pinche lime y sal y que la chingada.
That's the bad tequila. Well, not the bad. The quality of tequila is not the best. If you have to do all that,
you're taking bad medicine.
If you have to, what they say, like put lipstick on a pig, it's just not going to be that.
Yeah.
You just got to. That's nice though.
Not to say that stuff isn't fun. It is fun to do all that. It's like rolling the joint. It's the funnest part is rolling it.
Yeah, that's true. But so I went to pick up the bottles. I went to a store. I got 2 of them, and then he have one of them. So I had to go to another store, and I got soaking wet trying to get to that, but I got it. But you know what I noticed when I went to the bigger, I think it was Total Wines and stuff. I noticed a river of freaking tequilas, different bottles, all kinds of stuff. I mean, they have so many of them. And first of all, me, just personally, I'm not like a super big fan of the celebrity tequila.
Right.
Because I don't feel like I don't knock their hustle, right? I know what they're doing it for, the mighty dollar. But at the same time, this is something that is particular for Mexico to the world. There's a reason why I do.
I have to defend them just for a second in the last part of what you said, because everything that they're selling is from Mexico, whoever it may be. But I agree with you in the sense of, and I just have to say something. First off, Number Juan is not a celebrity tequila, and we're not here to hustle. It's me and Ron just sharing something that we discovered and we think is completely beautiful, and it's completely what we were doing the day before. We were drinking a lot anyway, and but it's funny you bring that up, because just yesterday somebody sent me something where somebody kind of put in a synopsis all these celebrity brands, and they mentioned Number Juan in there, which again, I don't consider us a celebrity brand, but I was surprised to find out at least 3 bottles that I didn't know people that are celebrities that have tequila, and props to them, because they're spreading the word of tequila. Tequila is beautiful. The whole world should drink it rather than anything else. That's always been my stance. Now, if any of them, I don't know who, but if any of them aren't they weren't drinking tequila to begin with. Well, then fuck them, because then they're here for the hustle.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. It's from us. It's completely genuine. I always tell people we're not selling anything. We're sharing the mood that we're in, and it's a really good one. And we welcome you to the party. But anybody that's slinging tequila, they're slinging the right message.
Yeah. So that's where I was getting at, the approach and the humbleness behind and the honesty that I feel like you're putting, as far as, you're not trying to sell it. You literally discover something and you want the world to know. And that's how I take it in whenever I see your interviews and different things like that.
Yeah, and thanks for catching on to that, because again, I discovered it when I was 16, but at the age of I'm 57. At the age of 45. At the age of 45, I discovered the best tequila in the world, Regalo de Dios, which turned into Number Juan. You know?
And that's the other thing that I was saying, like, that I'm glad that they are distributing our culture to them. But the genuine approach is the thing that I just like. I know that you're doing. You don't ride a horse, and you don't put a hat in on a regular basis. You don't walk through the agaves. You don't even know the people that actually make the tequila. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're talking about them?
Yeah, not you.
I thought you were talking about me.
No, I'm not saying your video from the drone. That was a nice video. No, not that. But I'm saying there's other celebrities, things like that. You know what I mean? They try to sell you.
I was like, I got a horse in my backyard right
now. No. I'm not you. I'm talking about in other celebrities that have nothing to do with, never touched a horse, never wore a hat.
You're talking about all them other posers.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, it's cool that they spraying it, but at the same time, like, man, get to know really the culture, get to know the history of where it came from. Get to know that it was something else before it was this, Like it was pulque, and then it became mezcal, vino de mezcal, and then it became tequila, and this is like the whole thing. And then you had a distillery that's 100 years, because I've been wanting to do an episode by myself with tequila, and I am going to, but at the same time, you're an expert in tequila for the same reason that I know that you know what you're talking about as far as even the aging of the tequila, like the agave, and all of that.
I've harvested it with the guys out there, and not a full shift, not a full shift, but I've been out there and spent an hour with them harvesting. And then don't get me wrong, I'll put 8 hours in anywhere. I put it in my yard yesterday, but out there we were there to do a lot of things. But I've harvested with those guys. I've helped load it in the oven, and so has Ron. And it's and I gotta say, since we started Number Juan, I go to Mexico. Voy a México cada año. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going 3-4 times a year, and I'm gaining. I've always had this pride, but I have this pride when I go there, de mi cultura, verdad, and that we're sharing it. And when I'm there, I feel the way that my father described me when I was 12 and couldn't understand what the fuck he was talking about. I was like, what are you talking about? But now I feel it, and I'm proud to also say that when we stumbled across Rivesca Distillery and the Rivera family, they had 13 employees that made Regalo de Dios for the production that they needed. Because I asked them, how many people are here full time? What is this? How many people does this take? Today it's over 70, and wow, because we're out there sharing the word and people are discovering it, which I take pride in, because that's us hustling. That's us, that's us partying a lot, really is what it is.
And I'm gonna ask about that here in a little bit. But another question they wanted to ask you is, like, I know you had a lot of interviews, different podcasts, different interview radios, whatever the case might be. But can you think of at least 1 or 2 questions that you wish they would have asked you, whether it was about tequila, whether it's about you personally, as far as comedy or anything like that? Does anything come to mind?
No. I'll be honest. I would be making something up if I answered that question, because usually when I'm speaking to someone, I'm just trying to be in the moment, there has been times that someone doesn't know me before they come on, and I think that I get disappointed in those people, because not because they don't know me, because their job is they're about to interview somebody, whoever it is. Obviously, you've done a lot of homework. So I've gone away from some interviews going, this guy didn't know anything about me. They didn't know nothing. They were asking me to talk. They were like, hey, so what's up in your life? You're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I don't like that.
Okay, so one thing that I do appreciate about you is that one thing that I did learn in the military is integrity. And then another thing that I like about you is the fact that, like, you don't BS people if you don't know the answer. Like, it's okay to say I don't know if you don't know at that moment of time. And that stop me when I lie thing, I think it really goes into your set because it's really you, right? Like, if you don't know, you don't know. Why you want to add on a lie or BS your way through it? You know what I mean? And that's awesome. That's appreciated.
Mejor me callo, in that situation.
What do you think that came from?
That's something I learned, I guess, a long time ago, but I also relearned it during COVID with my wife. I learned sometimes just shut the fuck up, Alex, if you don't know the answer.
Yeah. But anything as far as your parents, like putting you in that, like, you have to be as honest as possible because, normally a lie's not really going to lead you anywhere, or eventually the truth is going to come out. So you need to be as honest as possible because I feel you are pretty honest, even the stories you're telling on your stand-up.
That's the only way I try to be, it's the only way I know how to be. I mean, I don't know. When my kids just walked in, a couple of them, and there's been times with my kids or my friends or someone I'm working with. And I have to start by saying, I don't mean to come off this way, but I'm just going to tell you what I'm thinking because I don't want to hold it inside and be mad at you. Yeah. Because I got shit to do. Yeah. Either we're working an event, or I want us to be honest with each other. I try to choose the right words. But
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I try to be honest. That's
what's up. So as far as the moment, the light bulb moment, as far as when you wanted, I know you have mentioned a little bit of it, but I don't know if I really got a good answer as far as the moment you decided so you were bartending, Ron came, you serve him up, and then somewhere during that time, you decided to launch yourself into comedy. Like, how did anybody around you thought you were already funny or?
No, not at all. You know what? Here's what it is. I think as far as me getting to where I'm at now, as a kid, I liked having fun with people. Mm-hmm. I could have fun with my friends. No one thought I was particularly funny. As a matter of fact, when I told my family I was going to do stand-up, they were all like, what?
What is that?
But how I discovered it, I like having fun. Mm-hmm. I'm a rock star, really, in my mind, in my heart. That's what I wanted to pursue, but I didn't have that talent and that discipline to do that. But I know I wanted that lifestyle. I wanted to party. I wanted to have fun. Again, I grew up in hospitality, and my mother and father were, 4- and 5-star restaurants. So I was watching parties be put on all the time. I had an uncle who was a musician. We would go watch him play in bars and restaurants from, when I was a kid, just looking behind a little curtain. Yeah. And that inspired me. I knew I wanted that. And I happened to be, as a bartender, stumbled into the new craze in 1986, which was comedy clubs bursting all across the country. And that's when I met Ron, obviously. But I watched all of these great entertainers come through there every single week. And I got glimpses of some of them. And then I think I'd worked there 7 months before I saw the first show, when I went in and actually sat down and watched the show. Oh, wow. And I remember laughing so hard for 90 minutes that my face hurt. And I couldn't believe this new art form that I knew was there, but I had just really discovered for the first time, felt it. And then I was also watching all these guys that were entertaining people, just 250 people, right, go home with the prettiest girls in the room. And I was like, I want to do that.
That's a good incentive.
Yeah, it really was. It was, and again, I was chasing fun. And I wanted to give it a shot. And when I went up there for the first time, it can go either way or right in the middle. And for me, luckily, that first time it was enough. I'm sure it was horrible for some of the people that watched, but for me, it was enough to say, I think I can do this. And I did it again and again and again. And the first probably 6 times I did the exact same thing. And every time in my mind, that was great. And the 7th time, what I had just done the 6 times exactly before went horribly wrong. And I was like, oh, we went wrong. But I kept playing with it, and I knew I wanted to do it. And a year and a half later, I quit my job as a bartender, and I've been unemployed ever since.
Nice. Now, it was your process, salute. Was your process writing the jokes, or was it just memory that you were remembering? Or what was your process to come out with jokes?
I've never been a disciplined writer. I don't sit and write. I don't write it completely out. My style is, I have a thought of what I think might be a good premise. And I might come up with a line or two that I do jot down just to help me go, I want to talk about that. And then I just kind of, I've done it all different ways. I've tried writing, but I've realized now that I'm older, that's not me. I'm not the guy with a notepad. I'm the guy that takes notes and I work them out when I get up there. I want to, whatever it is I want to talk about. And I've discovered, to be honest with you, I've discovered a lot of, the way I feel about things while I'm up there, because I just have to speak of it. And I've seen enough shows, and I saw enough shows before that to know that the pressure's on, that you got to do something. So I had this mental pressure on Alex that, hey, you got to make something happen here. And so I think there's an internal clock saying, don't suck. Don't suck.
I like that rule that you have.
How did you know that?
Well, I told you, I did my homework.
You did do your homework. That's what me and my kids and my family, we say to each other right before you go on stage. Don't say good luck. Don't wish me anything. Say, don't suck. That's the only direction I need. Because if I have that in my mind, then I'm going to fight, and it's cool because my kids, I think in Red Mexican, my second special, if you watch the end, the credits, there's a lot of B-roll footage. We always have fun with that. But there's a shot of my kids when they're little. I think my son was 5, my daughter was 9, and it cuts to them. They're like, Dad, don't suck.
Oh, wow.
But what's cool is they're grown-ups now, and you can hear both of my kids on all musical platforms, Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes. My son is Reymundo. My daughter is Mariah Reymundo. Check them out. Because now, literally this last weekend, they played their first outdoor festival, and they had a show the next night. And I look at them and go, don't suck.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Where was that at? What was the festival at?
Here in Louisville, there's a festival going on this weekend called Forecastle, which is huge. But the weekend before, they do a festival called Porcastle, which is put on by the same people, but they focus on local artists. But it's also 3 days of a big stage in a big park. And my kids played on one of those days, and we got there, and there may have been, I'm sure at the end of the night there were 200 or 300 people there. But when my kids played early in the afternoon, there were maybe 70 people and just 12 or 15 up at the front. But you know what? That's where you start.
Yeah.
And every show is different from the one before and different from the one that's coming. So I told them to embrace it.
Your eyes like glitter and shine whenever you're talking about your kids, especially the fact that they're doing like their art part. I did hear Faded. I heard the story
what, dude? I get emotional. I'm not gonna lie. I get emotional. I'm proud of them, and I'm proud of my mom and dad.
Yeah,
for laying that foundation so they could do that.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. I appreciate that emotion. I'm sorry to meet maybe it's the tequila. Maybe it's not me or the
That's why I love tequila, bro. I love tequila.
But there's nothing wrong with that, right? As far as expressing our feelings, as far as like human beings, right?
That's what we are. And hopefully if anybody's watching this, and somebody, and God bless, somebody's going to go, pinche maricón. That's fine too.
Yeah.
But somebody's going, you know what? I'm going to, my kids, I'm going to let them, so inspire. If it inspires you in any way.
Yeah, we need salud, because we do need, as Latinos, as Mexicanos, to be more supportive and show more emotion to our kids. Not in that sense, que maricón or whatever, but in the sense of like being proud and supportive. They're probably still working through their ignorance, you know what I mean? But as far as like supporting them, like that's a great man. Like the fact that you can show emotion.
Again, my hats off to my mom and dad. They were always supportive of whatever we did. My mom and dad said to us, if I said, "Hey, I'm going to play football. Hey, I'm going to be in the play. Hey, I'm going to go play horseshoes," or whatever it was. I'm going to run cross country. My parents said, "Be great and don't quit."
Yeah. That's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that story. Thank you for sharing those emotions about your kid, because I think every parent should feel that way towards their kids, especially us Latinos, because sometimes we're too hard and cold, that we need to be able to express that, because, you know, sometimes we never know when we're going to go. So we have to do it now because we never know.
No, for sure. And don't be afraid to be stern with them too, you know, because kids and people and human beings, we all need direction, you know, and you can't just let them free and go, hey, do what you want. You know, there's a balance in all of that, but absolutely you should encourage. And so my parents did, as hard as they worked, they found the time to say, dale gas.
Dale gas, you know? Dale gas. My dad and us, we say chale ganas.
Mm-hmm.
Échale ganas. That's what we say.
My father also said, con huevo.
También.
Dale huevo.
Con todo. Okay, so one question that I had is something that recently happened. And the only reason I'm bringing it up, I think everybody already talked and exhausted to it, but I wanted to get your point of view as far as what happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock. Did you hear about what happened?
Well, no. What happened?
Okay, so they were in some type of...
I know what fucking happened.
Oh, my goodness. I'm about to... Hey, you know what? Because I know you're not in tune with a lot of the things going on sometimes. So I'm like, maybe he doesn't know?
You know what? I'll tell you this. To that point, I have tuned out of a lot of the... I used to watch the news religiously a decade ago.
Yeah.
So I have tuned out of that porque sabes que I don't need that energy.
Absolutely.
And I don't need that opinion shoved down my throat, whoever's it is.
Yeah. I think you and I have the same view as far as we know the government, but we know there's another layer of whoever it is that pushes whatever it is. I don't own the TV for the same reason. I don't watch the news.
Hey, here's what I'm going to say on that. Pay attention, everybody, porque ahí está el diablo. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
But as far as Will Smith and Chris Rock,
let me ask this question this way.
Make sure you hear this.
Okay, let me get three perspectives on this, right?
Yeah,
I want to get your perspective as far as when you saw it, your first thoughts that came to mind. The second part, I want to see what would you have done, and the third, it will be was there any logic behind what happened? So the first one was, what was your first reaction when you first saw it?
I was shocked. Right, like everybody, because I saw one clip and I saw it I think I saw it maybe 7 hours after it happened. So I wake up early and I was like, what? And then the very next clip I saw showed the extended version where Will was out of bounds again, right? And so my first impression was shock.
Yeah.
And then what was your second perspective on that?
What would you have done if it was you and it was him coming at you or somebody else coming as you're performing?
You know, I don't know because because I wasn't there on that stage, on that platform. But my hat is all of my hats are off to Chris Rock for being a true showman and keeping the show going, because he absorbed it and shook it off and realized where he was, which obviously Will Smith had not realized where he was. And I used to be a big fan of Will Smith, and I don't know if you guys can hear me clearly, but I'm going to say, fuck you, Will Smith. You're a bitch. Because that was wrong.
That was absolutely wrong.
And not only for every reason, I won't even list them, because for every reason you put out there, that was wrong. And again, my hat's off to Chris Rock for absorbing it and moving on, and it set a bad precedence, you know, because bad shit happens already.
Mm-hmm.
That just kind of okayed. I mean, people they've been approached on the stage. Dave Chappelle, it happened to Dave Chappelle right after that. You know, I mean, it was 2 weeks, but it was still right after that.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you before that, it happened to somebody in a comedy club that you didn't hear about. And the truth is it's happened before in comedy clubs. And even then it was wrong. And then no one that is performing, it happened in Tombstone. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember when they killed the artist?
Yeah.
You're like, he was bringing you joy. This person was trying to put something beautiful in your horrible lives.
Yeah.
in that scene. That's what they said when they killed the minstrel.
Yeah, I think nothing justifies putting hands on another human being for whatever reason, unless you're trying to defend yourself.
Well, yeah. At least not to someone that's performing on the stage.
Yeah,
but you're right.
Yeah, there's no justifications at all whatsoever. No reason is good enough.
I don't know if I was clear, but Will Smith, and I used to fucking love him, man. And
Okay, so I want to kind of sort of empathize a little bit with him with all the stuff that's been going through his life and the things that his wife has put him through. But at the same time, it doesn't justify you putting your hands on another human being. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you hit the wrong guy.
Yeah, true.
You hit the wrong guy.
And another thing that I wanted
if you're such a man, you should have addressed that shit some other time.
Or to the person that she was involved with.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Fuck that guy.
Moving on to
Cheers to Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Cheers to Chris Rock and fuck Will Smith.
Hey, cheers to Chris Rock. So I really like your take on the fact that you said that comedy, everything, like as far as the ground rules, everything is fair in love, war, and comedy. And I want you to, and I think you said it before, but I want you to elaborate a little bit more, because comics don't get on the stage and trying to like literally belittle you, destroy you, make you feel the worst, right? That intent doesn't come whenever you're on stage. That malicious intent is never whenever you're on stage making fun of people or, maybe a little bit roasting. It always comes from a place of having fun, right? Even if it's a serious topic, right? So I really like you to elaborate a little bit more on that part as far as everything's fair. Is it really everything's fair in love?
Yeah, I think so. I think when you come into a comedy club, any town in USA, you've checked your emotions and your feelings at the door. You're here to laugh. And I don't know. I didn't ask you for me or any other entertainer didn't ask you for a questionnaire of what you'd like to discuss that night. So we're just kind of guessing. And the truth is we're just trying to regurgitate our thoughts, and hopefully you'll find them amusing, and we will shift gears, or at least I do. Do I say it faster? Do I slow it down? Do I emphasize on this? Do I quit cussing so much this time? I try to read every single audience to get my point across, because I still want to get what I had intended out. And again, I'm not the disciplined writer. I'm not the technician that goes, this is how it goes. So I'm trying to figure it out myself. And so you got to check all that stuff at the door. You may love 7 jokes and go, I don't know about that one, but you got to just ride with it, because there's 7 more coming. Yeah. And if you can't, and I promise you, any of the 7 things that you laughed at earlier, there was probably somebody that felt the same way that you did about the 8th joke. And so you got to lighten up, Francis,
Yeah.
And if you have a problem, well, get over it, because there's another joke coming. And the truth is we're surviving. We're up there surviving. We're trying to not get through. We're trying to make this whole thing happen, where the ultimate goal is the majority of the room goes home feeling happy.
Yeah.
And smiling and laughing, and go through some emotions. Hopefully I'm here to make you laugh. That's my job. If I make you think at the same time, well, maybe I've done a really good job. And that's the way I look at it. And I'm talking about my wife and my kids and my life experiences. And people sometimes say, hey, your wife and kids, they take a beating up there. And I rest on the stop me if I lie. And I rest on the truth is my wife and kids, we made a deal a long time ago. I can say whatever I want about them, and they get to continue to eat. I'm just trying to make light of this, and trying to understand it myself. So, don't take yourself so seriously when you walk into any place of entertainment that you can't sit back and enjoy the show.
Yeah, or maybe you just stay home for that day. Maybe
stay home.
If your mind is not really there.
That's me trying to still be the nice guy. I'm always like, I'm trying to explain to you the rules. And some comics, Ron would probably say, hey, either love it or fuck you, and that's the truth. But yeah, lighten up. Okay.
So I feel like listening to you as far as the way you go about your you prepare and you get your because you're really good on your feet and you're improv a lot and you freestyle a lot. So maybe there's a reason why I feel like maybe you haven't had it, because I know you were working on another special, right? Is that still in the works? Have you done it? Do you think you have everything that you need to say yet?
Yeah, I don't think I have ready for what I want to do. It was in the works before COVID hit us. I was actually going into Phoenix for 8 months, and I was just working on things I wanted to talk about. And then I was hoping to film in October of 20, but in March, the world got disrupted. So all that ended. And then when we started back, it was kind of like, wow, what I was talking about, was it even relevant anymore? Right. And so I started touring again, and I found that it was, but at the same time, I had all these other things to discuss. And I think for about 3 months, I thought, oh, there's a show here. But the truth is, right now we're in, what is this? This is July. We're in June. We're in June of 21. So some of the things that I brought up right when I came back from the pandemic that have been getting big laughs and getting a reaction from people are starting to fade away. So now there's no sense in talking about that. So I'm not ready for a new special, but I'm ready to keep working, and I'm ready to keep finding new stuff. And hopefully within a year, I'll shoot something somewhere. I think I have discovered that it won't be on such a grand scale like the ones we did before, because I'm really having fun performing to. COVID dictated this to me, to perform it in front of 150 people and 200 people rather than the bigger rooms, right, because they just weren't there for a while. But I also discovered I fucking love that area. I love talking to 100 people and 120 and afterwards having a drink with them and talking with them. And so whatever I put out there soon, hopefully it'll have that feel. Right.
So you're starting to enjoy the more intimate type of setting instead of the bigger auditoriums.
I like them all. I like them all, like the tequila, but that would be a true reflection on what's going on right now.
Nice. Yeah. And as far as the material, because of the temperature with the whole U.S., right? Maybe some people saying people are more sensitive nowadays. Certain things you really can't talk about the same way that you were talking maybe on your first special. Is that something that you have to think about getting prepared to put the material out? Or it's like, not really?
I don't. I don't consider it. But at the same time, before I even say something, I consider it. So I don't think I'm ever being anything other than me. And you see, no te gusta, pues it's okay. And I'm not trying to take a hard stance here, but I'm not gonna stop to consider what might be politically correct. I'm just not gonna do that, because the truth is, the people that do come to watch me, they've heard me before, and they go, I like the way that guy thinks, and let's see what he's thinking now. And guess what? I've seen a lot of young people in my audience laughing, and I've seen a lot of people come up to me and go, "What the fuck?" But hey, no, I'm not gonna consider it at all.
Yeah, I like your performance. I really do enjoy your performing. Whenever the ones that I've seen, like, you're really freaking comical. Like the delivery, the faces, everything so freaking awesome, man. I never
considered myself a face guy, but some people always go, "You make funny faces," and I'm
your
like, okay.
Voice is so freaking. Whenever we first talked on the phone, I knew exactly who it was. I'm like, yeah, you know what this is? I'm like, yo, like how your voice is like so unique. I recognize it.
That's cool to hear, because I'll be honest with you, I forget what I sound like until I go to San Antonio and I hear another Mexicano go, "Hey, how's it going?"
Right. It's so, because I'm here in the Dallas area, and I don't think I sound different unless I really go somewhere else, and maybe they're like, "You sound interesting," you know?
I grew up in Fort Worth, and I remember the first time I played in Houston. I went down there and I thought I was a hot shot because they flew me down. It was an 18-minute flight.
Oh, nice.
They flew me down, and I get in the cab, and the cabbie, he goes, "Where are you from?" And I said, because I thought I was hot at the time, some hot shot. I was like, "Dallas." I didn't even say Fort Worth. I said Dallas. And he goes, "Goddamn Yankee." And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Like, what? So yeah, you're here from like the area, like all this area right here. Like, we're in Bedford right now, but you are real familiar to all this area, right?
I went to LD Bell.
Wow.
I went to LD Bell. I'm Dallas Fort Worth. I grew up in Hearst. And you know what? I should plug something right now.
Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely.
I'm going to be August 26 and 27 at a brand new comedy club in Addison called TK's Comedy. And I'm excited about that because I get to go home. I get to see my mama.
When are the tickets on sale? Where can we get them? Because I really want to put in we're going to air this one on June 1st, but I want to have the link if you have it already available. And I'm going to be there. I want to say I want to be in the front row, but I don't want to because I don't want you to roast me. So maybe I'll be in a corner watching you.
It is not in my plan to fuck with anybody in the audience, but if you happen to be there, beware. So
I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna get tickets. So you do have the link or where to go?
It's go to tkscomedy.com.
Okay, and they're already available?
Yeah, they're not available yet. Well, they will be by the time you air this.
Okay, so by June 1st, there should be some tickets there. So that way I can go ahead and put it out and get some tickets moving. I'm pretty sure they will.
I'll send you the link.
I'm super excited for this episode, and I'm super excited to even talk to you. And I'm telling you, even though it's like equivalent, like as far as when I was growing up and seeing your comedy and like kind of sort of getting the language together because English wasn't my main language. And then understanding some of the things that were like, oh, wow. And that's pretty cool. Now, one of the reasons that I did the podcast, The Global Latin Factor, is just for the namesake, right? But one of the things that you said really stood out to me for the same reason I see it the same way, right? So when you were coming up in comedy, you went to California, you were super hungry, you wanted to take on, and you were killing it. And then you went to the Latinos and you see some great ones, right? That's still doing big stuff right now. And then it was awesome that you gave them credit instead. Like, ¿saben qué? Me los voy a chingar. I'm like, no, like, I have some work to do. These guys are really good. Instead of like, no valen queso, you know what? And that was pretty awesome to me. And the fact that you saw that there was kind of similar to you and there was a possibility that they were just like you, cafecitos, and then they were able to be there doing that and gave you kind of a little bit of motivation, like, I can be that person. I can be me doing that.
You know, again, the fact that you even know that feeling that I had is pretty amazing because I had been out in the Midwest, you know, because I started in Fort Worth and I moved to Missouri, and I didn't move, but I started traveling the Midwest and got a lot of shows under my belt. And I went to Hollywood thinking, you know, feeling really good about me. No one knew my name, but they said, you can go here. And I just thought I was going to make a big impression because I had no idea how many Latino comics there were. And I stepped into the Laugh Factory on a Monday night, which they used to do 2 shows a night. And I watched some of the most incredible talent that I've seen to this day. You know, Felipe Esparza was there. Willie Barcena was there. Jeff Garcia was there. Gabriel Iglesias was there. Now, Gabriel was not there that night. Paul Rodriguez was there. Gabriel hadn't started yet.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe he was considering it at that time, but I hadn't met him yet. Darren Carter was there. There was Gilbert Esquivel, Rudy Moreno, Pablo Francisco, Freddie Soto.
Some heavyweights.
And I saw all these people because I really walked into that room thinking, oh man, I've got it Hollywood. You know, I'm going to be a star real quick. And I watched all this great Latino talent, and they all had something different to say. And I remember sitting in the back of the room thinking, this is going to take a little longer than I thought. But I was proud to be there, and you know, things. Paul, that was where Paul saw me, and he looked at me and he goes, you know, you're kind of different with this whole hillbilly Latino thing, and you know, I started touring with him, and that's where I met Joey Medina. Yeah, and it was hey, and guess what? To this day, you know, Felipe Esparza blowing up the world right now. Gabriel Iglesias blowing up the world. He
just sold out the LA stadium, like Dodger Stadium. He just sold it out not even that long ago.
Right. I mean, he had a big festival. It was a festival of comedy, right? And a lot of comics were there, and that's the power of stand-up. But that's also the power of Gabriel, and Steve Trevino is kicking ass across the country right now. You know, that's a boy that came out of Texas. I want to say Houston. I could be wrong about where Steve came from, but and that's a guy that back in the day, Carlos Mencia took him under his wing, and he toured everywhere with Carlos, So mad props to Steve, finding the pulse of America right now. And it's just people speaking their mind, from whatever perspective it is.
I like the fact that you were humble enough to say, like, damn, I got some work to do. And then it didn't discourage you from keep doing it. Yeah. But you still on it, you know what I mean? You still keep at it. You still even better now with the tequila, and pretty much
like we said earlier, man. Con huevo, chingale.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some Mexicanos got to keep working.
Yeah, but you did say something also in another interview, because it is true. The Mexicanos in California are not the same.
I don't know if you notice every time you say Mexicano, I go like this. I go,
¿Qué pasó? But the California Mexicano and the Texas Mexicano, we're just a little bit different. Even the speaking, right? Like, this is not like something that you add. This is just the way that you grew up talking, right?
Yeah, we're different. We're different. I mean, probably in el corazón, we're exactly the same, but we approach, we've got different influences. I'm a Southern boy,
Nice. Yeah. So, have your son already began to? I know he's performing now. Has he? And I listened to the Faded track, and it was nice because I remember you telling the story about that. Now, are they working on actual projects now at this time? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, he's constantly right. He's in the other room right now.
Yeah, cool.
He's constantly writing. He and his sister and his friends have founded a band called 222, and then they're just they're having fun. They're making music, they're expressing their thoughts, which is cool, and check them out. SoundCloud, Spotify. Are you on iTunes, puppy? Yeah. iTunes. Again, Reymundo, all lowercase. My daughter is Mariah Reymundo, and it's cool to hear them. As I like to say, it's their turn. I remember being when they were babies and on tour with Paul.
Oh wow!
And Paul would speak of his son, who's a very famous skater, Paul Rodriguez, the skateboarder.
Oh, nice.
And not the comic. And at those times when he was 16, 17, Paul would tell me, hey, my son said, I'm going to make this name more famous than you made it.
Oh, wow.
And that was, to me, I remember hearing that and thinking, that's pretty fucking cool. And now my kids are doing the same thing. So it's cool.
Yep.
And songs like Faded, like I was telling you about. And sometimes I hear their lyrics and they're speaking of their life or whatever they think right now. And sometimes I feel it and I'm like, oh yeah, I know. And sometimes like, hey, I think he's talking about me right there. But hey, again, you gotta let that shit go. He's trying to express himself. She's trying to express herself, and all's fair in love, war, comedy, and music,
Well, you got to make the arrangement whenever he makes it bigger, which he is, because he has a great example to go by. Just remember, tell him, you can make fun as me as you want to on your songs. Remember, you have to pay some of my bills now. Take care of some of mine now.
Oh, man, trust me, he's got tab running because I got his ass covered for now.
Well, you really... So you are living you did and continue to live the rock star lifestyle, really, right? In a comedy sense, because you really actually fulfill your dreams as doing that. But I know that you really enjoy music too. Like
I do. I love music. And again, if I had my dreams, I wouldn't say my preference because I don't know. But if I had my dreams, I would have been a big rock star. But again, I didn't have that talent. I didn't have that discipline. But I have that drive. And I've figured out a way to have fun doing whatever I want to do. And again, I was influenced I remember my first concert. I didn't get my senior pictures made, and I didn't do a lot of things I should have done that year because I was going to concerts and I was camping out for tickets. Because back in the day, you had to go stand it for 3 or 7 days.
Could have clicked a button and get a freaking ticket.
Oh, you had to camp out outside the Sears for the Rainbow Ticket Outlet, and you had to skip school all those days, and you had to call in sick because there were no cell phones. Anyway, it was a process. You had to earn that shit. But I watched probably that first time I saw a concert. Over the next 2 years, I think I saw 400 concerts. And I just fell in love with the essence of expressing myself and doing what I want to do.
What was the first band that you watched and the very first concert?
The first concert I saw was Van Halen, Fair Warning Tour in 79.
Oh, wow.
79. Is that right? It was Fair Warning Tour. And then I saw every show that came to Dallas-Fort Worth, even if I didn't think I liked the band, because I wanted to just go see the show.
It's a great experience. I've seen Journey and Def Leppard here in the American Airline, and it's just nothing beats like the live instruments. The whole thing is just crazy.
It can't be touched.
Yeah,
the live experience can't be touched. And again, so I knew I didn't know what I wanted to do or how I was going to get there, but I knew who I wanted to be. And to this day, I dig the fact that.
But you do be playing the guitar though, right? You do be.
Yeah, I play the guitar. I'm not real good. I couldn't sit in with your band. I could sit in with your band and sing a song and have some fun.
It's a start. Hey, you're way ahead than I am. I tried to play a regular acoustic guitar, but I think my fingers were too small, maybe too chubby. I couldn't get the hang of it, so I couldn't get it.
It sounds like a personal problem.
Well, maybe. I must start stretching, doing exercise. Okay, so. Motorcycles. You really like motorcycles as well, right?
I do.
I seen them. You put them on some of the specials. So, what is your favorite one that you have? Like, do you still ride?
Well, I got to tell you, I love motorcycles. I rode them when I was a kid. As a young adult, I haven't ridden in a while. I'm a fan of a nice Harley, an Indian, and. I don't ride now. I remember when my kids were before my kids were here, me and my wife said, "Hey, if we ever have the luxury of doing what we want to do, let's get a motorcycle and get some chaps and ride." and when that opportunity, not that time, because hey, life does this.
Oh, yeah.
You go up and you down. Life, one day you have everything, the next day you got nothing, and then you have something, and you got nothing, and you're struggling. And either way, we're all 3 months away from being homeless, right?
It's all part of life, though, right? It's just a regular journey of life.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Sigues, dale huevo, dale huevo. But we decided we were going to buy a motorcycle and do that. But when that opportunity came, the kids were in the world, and we thought, you know what, we're not going to end up on the side of the road dead. Leave these kids with nothing, no parents. So I bought a convertible. And
still feel the wind on your hair.
Yeah, almost the same feeling.
I got the long hair too, pero no chongoy. Yeah, yours is slicker than mine, nicer than mine. You even got the rocker look going, like forever. You truly are. Even though you're like comedian, that's just still the life. That's still the vibe.
You know what? Yeah, I mean that for sure. That's what I wanted. That's what I have. That's what I keep working to have. But I say yes.
Are you still? So are you back fully touring, or is that still in the works, or is COVID? You still waiting a little bit more? A lot of the places.
I'm not waiting at all. I think in 2020. The first show I did was the very end of August. Somebody
a private gig, right?
Huh?
It was a private gig. It
was a private gig,
Cali, right?
Down in Florida.
Oh, Florida.
Well, actually, I'm sorry. You're right. It was a private gig in California that someone wanted me to do, and I hadn't done a show in 5 months, and so I contacted someone in Florida to go just work out and have a show at a bar, and so I did 3 shows in one weekend, which was enlightening. And it was what I needed at the time, because I was conforming to everything that the news was telling me. And I was, we were in our house and, all the shit we had to do. I was like, no, I need to get back out and work. This is ridiculous. And even in that time, we followed the rules, that this is how many people can come in the room. This is with a mask and all the whatever, all that it was. I won't debate any of that at all. But I did realize I need to get back to work. And ever since then, I found places and states that would let us go work and follow their rules.
Yeah.
And I got back to work because I missed it.
Absolutely.
I missed, speaking my mind and having fun.
Yeah, it's still crazy to me that almost a whole year we were locked in, like locked down, and go get food and that's it, and come back home and can't really touch people. It was all weird, right?
I can't believe we fell for that bullshit.
Well, yeah.
And what was interesting too is going to different states and seeing the different degrees of this state said, fuck you. This state said, I get it. This state said, ooh, it was odd to step into. It was almost like going into, we just watched Doctor Strange, the metaverse. It was almost like stepping into different places, the degree of where that state was with the situation. And we complied, but I was also looking I want to go talk.
Yeah. Okay. Let's touch a little bit more on Number Juan. So you really are a tequila expert because of everything that you talk about, like even to the point where even the soil affects the taste of the tequila, and all this stuff, right? And
it's
then
important.
The distillery itself, they don't cut any corners as far as the process, because if I literally just learned this when I was getting ready to interview you about tequila, right?
Thank you.
That is 7 years to age, like fully mature and ripe to where they actually, the jimadores, and you did the jimador job and then actually put it into the oven. Would y'all still use the old school oven, right? Not the new ones that you can cook it like this. That still takes about 48 to 72 hours.
There's brick ovens, there's stone ovens, there's autoclaves, and there's a lot of shortcuts. But the brick ovens, the stone ovens is the old way. The autoclaves, all the autoclave does, the autoclave actually is respected in the industry, to my knowledge and in my heart, because the autoclave, all it really does, it saves you just a few hours, and it allows you to almost cook from all sides. Like if you had a burner that this side's hot and this one doesn't get as hot because of the way the wall is, this is cooked more evenly.
Right.
But I don't think that's cheating the process at all. There's other processes that, there's, not to be too graphic, but there's some makers that are raping the land, taking plants at 3 years, and it's crazy. But they do processes to extract what they need from a 3-year-old plant rather than a 7-year-old plant, which again, it's horrible to see. It's almost like when you drive by. I mean, everyone loves a steak. I do. But when you drive by a field that's what they do, the meat processing plant, you're like, oh, that's horrible, and that's what some of them are doing. I'm proud to say that we do not. Our fields are 7 to 8 years. Maybe if they feel the sugar's right, they'll pull them at 6. Again, they don't compromise integrity for mass production, which is what we love about them. If I was to go in there tomorrow and say, hey, everyone wants cinnamon in their tequila because it's the latest craze, they'd go, get the fuck out of here.
Sácate de aquí.
Sácate de la cocina, hijo la chingada. And I love that about them because they're artists and they do what they do in making this. And the Rivera family, they make beautiful tequila. We spread the word. And I get to share their art. I'm like a producer in that sense, and I'm proud to say that Number Juan, we work hard too. Just before this interview, I'm wearing this T-shirt tonight because we were just at a baseball game in my hometown, Louisville, promoting our tequila because we're the tequila of the baseball field, and so we're out there telling people there's margaritas and you can drink them and it's fun and all that kind of stuff. And we've grown again from 13 to 70 employees in the last 10 years, which is a nice growth. We are blessed to be on the cover of Tequila Aficionado this month in June. Oh,
wow.
Yeah,
Congrats.
It's kind of cool. It tells our story. We're releasing our 10-year anniversary bottle, which is Juan in a Million. You made reference to it earlier. You see the 3 bottles in front of you. We have this, I shouldn't even say we have, there will be for a brief moment, a 4th bottle that is an extra añejo, like the bottle next to you. But instead of 3.5 years in the bourbon barrel, it's 9.6 years. So just shy of 10 years in a bourbon barrel. And it's amazing. There's only 3,000 of those bottles, 3,000 of those bottles. And to tell you the story of that real quickly, when Ron and I started this venture, like I said, we went out and harvested the field, do the agaves in the oven with the guys, and we watched them distill this tequila. And when they bottled it and they started to put some away, we said, let's pull this part away, because it was now our business venture. We're like, let's pull this part, and let's, instead of 3.5 years for the extra, let's just hang on to it and see what we do with it. And we hung on to it, and we hung on to it, and we hung on to it. And then we realized, hey, let's celebrate our 10th year anniversary that's been sitting there all that time. And we're releasing these 3,000 bottles, and they're called Juan in a Million. And if you think that extra añejo that you have in front of you is good, oh my God, wait till you taste this one. And it comes in a beautiful package. I wish I could show it to you.
Yeah, it's an Instagram picture post that I put up there.
Oh yeah, it's out there. Check out the package. It's amazing.
So it's a little bit like this, but it has gold, like
yeah, but I'm just talking about the box it comes in.
Oh, the box. I didn't see the box. It's on the bottom.
Again, it's 1 out of 3,000. There are only 3,000 people in the country or in the world will have this bottle. And then they're gone. And then, 2 or 3 years from now, we'll do another Juan in a Million, but something different that we already have in store. We're not going to tell you about it yet,
So how one can get a hold of one? How can one get a hold of one of those bottles?
You can ask your liquor stores, say, hey, whatever state you're in. And I'm proud of this. We started this little thing in Fort Worth, Texas, and Louisville, Kentucky. We're now in 37 states and looking to be in 40 before the end of the year. That's 10 shy of the entire nation, everybody.
Wow.
That's just Alex and Ron and all of Team Juan, everyone that participates in what we do. Rich Espy, John Henner, Craig Turner. These are my partners. Eric Knutson. It's nice, and our family and all the people that work for us. And anyway, Juan in a Million coming at you probably in 2 or 3 years from now. Another Juan in a Million, take 2, because this one says Juan in a Million Roman numeral 1.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. You're super passionate, and it's always
I love it.
Always in your face, not in your face pushing it, but really carrying the message of what you found that you want the world to know that comes directly from the motherland, Mexico, and to tell everybody, hey, this is what we have. Now, even though you call it Juan in a Million, is there a particular name that the industry uses for almost 10-year-old tequila?
It's an extra añejo.
Extra añejo también.
Anything over 3.5. I'm sorry, anything over 3 years, they call an extra añejo. They don't have a category dedicated to anything older than that. But again, 15 years ago, I don't know the history of this, but 10, 15 years ago, they didn't have a category for extra añejo. That was something they added because people started doing something. And so they had to, there's the blanco or silver or white or whatever you want to call it. There's the reposados, añejos, extra añejos now. I don't think there's a proper category for anything older than that now.
Maybe I can start the new trend, super añejo.
Hey, you know what? It's called Juan in a Million. You should get one as soon as you see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to keep checking tabs on that place where I got this. Actually, one of the places had run out, but the other ones, I was able to find all of them. Actually, the one that I was missing, which was this baby right here.
Here's my advice to you when you see these bottles, because hopefully you'll see this or Ron talking about it, or however you're exposed to Number Juan Tequila. When you see a bottle of it on the shelf, get it, because the truth is we're a small batch handcrafted tequila, and we're rare. We're not going to be in every liquor store. You're not going to see us everywhere. But when you see us, you should, if you got the money on you, because we're a premium tequila, we try to price it right to make sense, but you should buy it because you will experience something beautiful, and you might not see it there the next time. Yeah.
So y'all want to keep it in that level, or do y'all want to really take it up a notch without disturbing the quality of the tequila?
We'll never disturb the quality. I mean, that's our plan, because I know that's what they want. Mm-hmm. And I love their plan. And if we become like right now, this many people know about us. 2 years from now, if this many people know about us, we're gonna do everything that we can in our power to anticipate that growth and expand and do what we have to do. But at a certain point, there's only so many bottles. So again, if you see it, buy it, enjoy it, and I promise you, you won't be let down.
Yes, and one more time, with all the sea of tequilas and celebrity tequilas, why would anybody want to pick this particular bottle? I know you kind of already told us the history, but why is this like something that you must try at least? And then from then on, you probably won't ever go back to something else.
This is number one,
Plain and simple.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely, I'm telling you this. I've done the research. And when I say research, I've done the drinking, and
many years, and you used to actually turn people to tequila.
Tequilas and mad props to a lot of the tequilas that are out there because I enjoy them. I recommend go get yourself a bottle of Fortaleza. But again, like Number Juan, it's not easy to find. You're not always going to find it, but when you find it, you're going to go, man, that's just beautiful. That's beautiful tequila. And they make it the way they're supposed to make it. There's some other bottles that you might have that same experience, but they're kind of cutting some corners, and I'm not going to tell on them. That's for you to figure out.
Is there any preservatives or any coloring, extra stuff added to the bottles at all whatsoever? Anything else, or is just from the fields to the ovens to the bottle?
My bottles?
Yeah.
No, there's nothing. There's nothing but tequila. There's agave. Natural volcanic spring water and love. That's all. And the influence of the barrel. Yeah. The color that you see and the character that you taste is the influence of the barrel. Those two bottles that are on your desk that you're speaking on,
here,
those two are this bottle, the white one that's to your right.
But rested for some time.
They're just the only difference is they've sat in a barrel of some kind, and I can tell you which kind. But the two of them, different barrels, different times. And so the color difference and the character difference is strictly from the barrel. Other than that, it is this white tequila. So, you should drink mine on top of all of those other ones because viene de mi corazón. Viene del corazón de la familia Rivera. You're not going to find better tequila. Trust me, again, I've done the research. I wouldn't stop me if I lied.
Yeah, because you used to put on people with two tequilas in general before you even discovered this one. And now you actually, have this for you that you can still put them on.
Turn my fans, and even if you weren't my fan and you just happen to end up at my show, I've turned people on to tequila. And now it just happens to be ours.
That's awesome. How does that sound? Let's say our tequila. How does that sound?
My favorite thing is to pay money in a bar for my tequila. And my second favorite thing to see is my tequila bottle in an establishment that is not mine sitting on the table. I just get, me da orgullo.
Absolutely. And you should be proud because it is a nice presentation. And again, I'm not a big fan of tequila because I've known the bad tequila.
Look at you drinking.
Man, you know what? The longer I sip on it, the sweeter it's getting. Is that by design?
Was I right about the sustain?
Yeah.
The sustain is just...
Yeah. Very interesting.
Nice.
Okay, so you done different movies and voiceover. Is there any plans to do any more movies at this time? Is there anything?
I just filmed. I spent one day on a set of a new movie. It's going to be called The Best Man.
Oh, and nice.
It is an action film. The way it was described to me was it's Die Hard if it was at a resort during a wedding. And it's exactly what happens. It's a thriller, action-packed movie. And the way it came to me is a family that makes a bourbon. Their son is a filmmaker.
Nice.
And a friend of mine said, hey, I know these guys out of Kentucky. They're making a movie, and the guy is really good at what he does. And they're going to have bourbon in the movie because this is part of the movie or part of one of the scenes. But they're also going to drink tequila. And they just happened to ask him, and he said, I know a guy that has a tequila company. And so I called the director and the writer, and which is the same guy. And by the way, this is a quality film. You know, this is Luke Wilson is the star, and I just spoke to the guy. I said, yeah, you know, we confirmed that they would use my tequila bottle in that, which was cool. And I just happened to say to him, and I don't even think he knew that I was a comic at the time. I'm just talking to a guy on the phone, and I said, and they were filming in New Mexico, which I just happened to be touring in. And I said, and when you film it, I said, if you need anybody, you know, a good guy or a bad guy, I could probably do it. And he kind of giggled. Nice. 2 days later, he called me and said, hey, man, I got a part for you if you want to do it. So I'm in the movie. My tequila's in the movie. And I'm obviously not the best man in the movie because I'm the first guy to die. I'm the first guy to die, which is kind of cool. And anyway, so check that out. And as far as making movies and things, it's not something I pursue. I love doing movies. I'd love to do more. It's not something I pursue. I really don't. I pursue stand-up shows, and I pursue living my life and running this tequila company. Because, by the way, I don't own it. I'm also the president. I run and operate this company. Yeah. But I do like doing that stuff. And you know, it just, there you go. It kind of just stumbled into that.
That's awesome. Okay, so we're going to be wrapping it here soon. So what will be the perfect cheer for you to cheer with tequila? What can be the perfect cheers?
The perfect cheer. You know what? To the future, may we all open our eyes a little bit and lighten up.
Salud. Okay, so I know, one more time, remind me, when is it that you're going to be here in Addison, Texas? What are the dates?
It's August 26th and 27th at TK's Comedy, and that's tk'scomedy.com. Check it out. Get some tickets. It's a Friday and Saturday night. I think, if I remember, they said we do one show on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and it's a small room, by the way, everybody. I think I want to say there's 120 seats, so get them because I'm going to have some fun.
And by June 1st, they're going to go on sale, right?
Yeah, they go on sale June 1st, or right around that time.
Okay.
I would say that's it. Oh, hey, this is kind of cool. I don't know if I mentioned this to you when we spoke about coordinating this interview, or this social time that we've had.
I had a great time. I'm feeling great.
I've had one as well. Today's my wife's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday to her.
Yeah.
Feliz cumpleaños.
To celebrate. But June 18th, if you're in New Mexico, by chance, in the city of Las Cruces, for the first time in a decade, I'm teaming back up with a few of the Latin Kings. It's going to be Joey Medina, myself, and el jefe, el alacrán de Culiacán, Paul Rodriguez himself, and we're going to do a tour called the Three Kings Comedy Tour, and we're at the Amador Live, and so check that out if you're anywhere around there.
Oh,
and
wow.
look for more dates of that to come. Hopefully we'll do more of those dates.
That's awesome, because I was going to ask you about that too. Do you still maintain a relationship? But it seems like that you are still pretty consistently communicating.
We do. It's like your relationship. Sometimes you talk to someone regularly and sometimes you don't. I mean, it's easily been 8 years since I've done a show with Paul.
Oh, wow.
I think Joey and I have stepped into rooms together maybe 3 times in the last 7 years, just because the opportunity was there. Joey was my roommate and one of my best friends for a long time, and still is. And so as is Paul. I'll be honest with everybody. I don't know George as well. We did a lot of shows together. And Cheech and I are friends. But I don't know those guys as well. I do the other two, because the other two we toured forever together.
Yeah, and it happens, because some personalities don't click, or just.
No, it wasn't about personalities at all. It was just different things going on.
Okay, so mostly the touring that brought y'all closer together.
Yeah, I mean, Paul and Joey, and again, the Latin Kings was birthed out of Paul's presence. And when the kings of comedy, Cedric, D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey, and Dios mío, and who am I missing there?
I'm trying to
Cedric
think
the
now.
Entertainer, Steve Harvey, Bernie Mac, and D.L. Hughley. When that released, Paul enjoyed it like the rest of the nation did, but also thought we should do a Latin Kings. And at that time, because Paul had seen me at the Laugh Factory and we were touring. It was his tour. I was just the opening act, and Joey was one of the opening acts at different times. He said we should do a Latin Kings of comedy. He didn't think of me and Joey. He was thinking the Latin Kings are Cheech, George, and Paul. They were the kings.
Yeah.
And arguably at the time Carlos, but they were the three kings, and a lot of younger comics performed on that show. But Paul told us, he said, 2 of you are going to make the cut for the film.
Yeah.
And for whatever reasons, Joey and I were the ones that were, they said, okay, you guys made the cut.
No, because you really did bring a different approach and a different view as far as the way that they were doing theirs, and compared to you, you have your own unique way.
I think all those things were taken into account. Again, there were several, if not, several is 3, but more. There were easily 5 to 7 other Latino comics that filmed that special, and there were 4 different shows, and I only performed on 2 of them.
Oh, wow.
But, for all the reasons they chose, for whatever reasons, they ended up going with Joey and I, and I'm blessed because of that. And those other comics have gone on to do great things. They just didn't get picked for that at that time. So they wanted a young feel, showing, hey, this is what's happening now. And yes.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So, okay. So besides what you can find now, like if somebody was to research you years later on Google, what else do you expect them to find besides everything else that you have accomplished already right now?
Like if you Googled me 2 years from now, que quiero que está allí?
Yeah. Or in the future, years from now.
I just hope, I ask myself 2 questions on a regular basis to no matter what I think about doing. Is it real, and is it from my heart? And if I'm doing that, then it's okay. So I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know. I was just talking to a friend of mine today because I'm watching my kids play. And then again, I wanted to be a rock star, and now I want to just start this local band. And if so hopefully in 3 years from now, when people write something, they'll be able to say, oh, and check out his band. It's not a band that's going to go out there to, try to sell, a bunch of tickets, but we're just going to be a band that has some fun. But whatever I'm doing, I can promise you, I'll be inviting you to some kind of party.
Awesome.
And I hope you join.
Awesome. And then the other last question for me is the party part. Why, besides you seeing your parents working in that industry, why is it super important for you to like you always bring up the word party all the time, right?
Well, and by the way, when I say party, I don't mean get fucked up. I don't mean that. I don't want you to get me wrong. I remember being. And if you see that interview on Tequila Aficionado, I mentioned it. I remember being 16, 17, and my mother asked me to come talk to her about a dónde iba a ir mi vida, where my life is headed. And I'll be honest, my mom was so busy. We didn't have the funds to go to college and do these things, but she wanted to know where my focus was. And the night before I went to see my mother to speak of this, I went to see a band. And not a big band, just a band at a barn in Texas. I think it was Azle, Texas. The area because you're absolutely. And at that time, this is 35 years ago. It was longer than that. It was 40 years ago. That was not developed. It was at a barn, and there was a band, and there was craziness, and I loved it. But I remember having a great time. And the very next day when I went to see my mom about where my life was headed, I remember telling her, and I wasn't reluctant because I wasn't saying I just want to get fucked up. I said, Mom, if I could figure out a way to party for the rest of my life, I think I'd be the best at it, or one of the best, because I just wanted to show people fun. Again, I grew up in hospitality. I was watching these things. I was seeing what I loved, and I like it. I like spreading joy. And so that's why the word party is important to me. And by the way, if you go to numberjuantequila.com, which I hope you do, Ron and I have started an army. We've started an army called the Army of Juan. And we're looking for people to spread this message, which is exactly what you asked me. And it's so genuine. And you know, there's all the things you can do, but what we try to spread, Ron and I have said it to each other forever. Our commitment to the party, which is having fun and genuine from the heart fun, not just selfish bastard shit and wrong shit, just having fun. It's our commitment to that has been relentless, and it's been sincere for all these decades. And so on everything that you get from Number Juan, the part of the Army of Juan, on the back, it says relentless and sincere. So that's genuinely where we come from. You know,
it's a great philosophy as well, because not everybody, but the majority of people would think get messed up and things like that. But just the philosophy of spreading joy.
Don't get me wrong. It's easy to get lost, but if you can keep focus, and if you can, and guess what? It's easy to get lost in getting so fucked up. And it's also easy to get lost in your own, you know, world of whatever. But if you can just stay true to, hey, let's have fun. Let's relax. Let's, as a matter of fact, as the Army of Juan, I always tell people, or just starting to, because we just started telling people, as your commanding officer, my first order to you is at ease. You know, fucking take it easy, man.
Absolutely.
You know, and so we're genuinely trying to do that. Yeah.
And then the name, the Number Juan, is a homage to, if I'm not mistaken, to your dad and the gentleman that is part of the distillery, correct?
Dude, you are on point. You get an A+ for all your research. Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And actually, you get an A- because there's one part you missed.
Okay.
It absolutely, to my father, Juan Alejandro Reymundo, to the originator of the distillery, Juan Rivera, who has been long gone. My father passed away 12 years ago. I want to say Juan Rivera passed away 40 years ago. Juan Rivera, and to a joke that I think I do. I can't remember if it's in Hispanic or Red Mexican, but I'm talking about Latinos in NASCAR. And there's Manny Petty and the Number Juan car, the uninsured F-150. Anyway, just that reference to the word Number Juan.
Yeah.
It always got a big laugh in my show, and I just wanted to make it easy for everyone to pronounce, because some of my favorite tequilas, Fortaleza, Coralejo, Centenario, they're beautiful tequilas. If you're not Latino, they're really hard to say.
Yeah, but Number Juan.
Number Juan.
Through the tongue.
I think it's everything you want from Mexico, and it's inclusive. It's an all skate party.
Okay, so we're gonna be wrapping up, but real quickly before I let you, I just want to say, like, I'm super proud of you as far as everything that you're done, and the reason why I said earlier that I'd created this so people can have a platform to look into somebody that looks just like them that have done it. You have done it. You are a comedian, somebody they can kind of sort of maybe look like, and maybe if they don't have an example, maybe they can't relate to Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock. But here we have somebody that I feel is an icon, a legend in your own rights because of everything you've done. And you look just like them, that they might be able to be inspired and take it and run with it and maybe become something great, a comic, entertainer, or anything like that. You know, that's some of the reasons that I did this, to show examples that there is people doing this that look just like you and they continue to do it, you know. And another thing is also tequila is worldwide. Laughter is worldwide. So with that, I feel like you are a perfect example of being a global Latin factor. So Alex Reymundo, you are a global Latin factor. Thank you very much for being here on the podcast.
Those are kind words, my friend. Kind words, and I take them to my heart, and that's as cool can be.
Awesome. Well, let me close it out and give me just a couple of seconds. So this was another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. Remember, we are just like you. We are the spice in this melting pot that it is the world. Till next time.
Salud.
Salud.
To the Latin Factor.